controllers have used every avenue available, every tool, every means at their disposal to deceive you. Every aspect of our world with any amount of influence is under the same group's control, the top capstone of the pyramid structure. Their many tentacles reach into the fabric of our existence by controlling all areas of what we know to be civilization and society. The most powerful resource under their control is radio, film, and television, creating our reality by exposing us to repeated ideas and beliefs through visual media. Unless you understand this, you will never comprehend what they've done to us, how they've done it, and we will be doomed to repeat it. Unless you truly understand that the only thing you can know for sure about your world comes from your own personal experience, not what is told to you by anyone on any medium, you will never see the world as it truly is. You must realize that most everything you have believed to be true about your world has been told to you, conditioned into you by just being a passive observer of visual media. And guess who is responsible for doing it? But to understand the who, you first have to understand the what and the how. And a lot of those techniques are revealed in scenes from movies. So we're going to take a quick look at a scene from the 1974 movie Parallax View, where they reveal exactly how they conduct human engineering and how they can shape a person's belief systems.
Welcome to the testing room of the Parallax Corporation's Division of Human Engineering. You will now please cross to the chair. And you will sit down, make yourself comfortable, and be sure to place each one of your hands on the box on either side of the chair, making sure that each one of your fingers is on one of the white rectangles. Just sit back, nothing is required of you except to observe the visual materials that are presented to you. Be sure to keep your fingers on the box at all times. All right? We hope you find the test a pleasant experience. please proceed to our offices. Thank you for your cooperation.
Every single thing you've seen on a movie or television screen has been carefully chosen by the top-level controllers to get you to believe something about your world or feel a certain way, to indoctrinate you, manipulate you, and condition you. Every single person, setting, storyline, every single word they use is part of the meticulous conditioning by the top-level controllers. To truly see the world for what it is and get to know what ideas are inherently yours and what has been conditioned into you, you have to be able to recognize what has happened to you since birth. Only then can you start to get to know your true world and your true self. The goal, so that we can move on, is for you to see all forms of communication, entertainment, movies, television, radio, news, social media platforms, and every aspect of media for what it truly is.
Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people. And when the 12th largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be peddled for truth on this network. So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. So if you want the truth, go to yourselves, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But man, you're never going to get any truth from us. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
And now, in our day and age, it's not just television, movies, and radio. It's anything that comes to you from a computer or a smartphone. Even if you don't watch television or movies, you are still exposed to a variety of conditioning every single day by using the internet. What they have ultimately done by using the most powerful tool of media and communications is completely control the individual, the mind, the self, and the soul. And hopefully by the end of this series, you will be able to finally see the world as it truly is. And you will be able to understand why things are done the way they are done. And finally gain freedom and independence from the system that has enslaved an entire population. In my next videos, I will go over how it is possible that they have complete control over civilization, the pyramid structure as it relates to the hierarchy of control, the other resources they have control of that play a part in the pyramid structure, and the specific methods and tools they use to manipulate, indoctrinate, and control a slave race. I will show you how the news, government agencies, and TV and film are used and for what purposes. In my last video, I talked about how entertainment and visual media are tools totally controlled and used by the top-level controllers to condition, manipulate, and indoctrinate a slave race. But before we go further into detail about what they are doing specifically and why, it's important that you understand the structure that makes this complete control possible, and also that you're able to see proof that ties these different areas together and shows that they are all working in conjunction under the same controlling group for specific goals. They would have us believe that things like news and journalism, Hollywood, governments, the science community, religion, professional sports, and other major influences are totally autonomous and independent of each other. But that is the illusion. In reality, all these tools and more, even those that appear to be in conflict with each other, are ultimately controlled by the same small group at the top of the pyramid. I will reveal the ultimate purposes for why this is done in later videos, but first you need to see how this could be possible. You may ask, how can this be? How can one group have their tentacles in everything, including everything that's in movies and television? To understand how a small group can control every resource or aspect that shapes our perception of the world, you must understand their key structure used for that control. For this, we will take a look at organizational charts. An organizational chart is a diagram that shows the structure of an organization and the relationships and relative ranks of its parts and positions or jobs. For example, let's take a look at the organizational chart of the Office of the Secretary of Defense. This is the power structure that shows how these relationships relate to one another and who reports to whom. The second image is just one example of an organizational structure of a business. Org charts display the structure that is used when organizing a power hierarchy over any sized group of people. It is used to ensure that the ultimate goals of these entities are met and are used in all areas when working with a population of people. It is used in business, education, government, military, news and media, Hollywood, religion, and every other area of life. There can be some variations of this structure, but still they all work in the same way. It is a power hierarchy to keep everyone in their specific roles and under the authority of someone else. Everyone in the organizational structure or hierarchy of power reports to someone above them. What do you notice about these organizational charts? Are you seeing the pyramid structure in them? The entire world works in the same way. It is the biggest organizational structure or pyramid that exists. All the things we will be discussing, like Hollywood, news media, private companies, governments, etc., are smaller pyramid structures that sit within a brick or section of the ultimate pyramid we know to be our world. The symbol of the pyramid with the eye at the top is not just some secret concept only used and known by a group at the top capstone of the pyramid. It is the underlying base structure of every working group of people in the entire world. It is the method used by the top-level controllers to organize a population and to gain total control over the world. It allows a small group to have total control over an unlimited amount of people that work within the entities that make up that pyramid. Who is exactly in the group that is working within the top capstone of that pyramid is the secret, but we will get to that later. At the top of every organizational structure or pyramid, there is the ultimate one in charge of the entire group. But even they are still not autonomous. They report to someone above them too, in the larger pyramid that encompasses their pyramid and many others. Pyramids within pyramids. This is how the entire plane is totally controlled. Each level of the pyramid reports to a smaller group or groups above them, all the way up to the top. Hollywood is just one brick in the pyramid. It is one important tool used by the controllers. It is not the only tool or brick used and totally controlled by the controllers. There are other bricks used for the same purposes but on a different level from a different angle. Some of the other sections or tentacles or tools controlled by the same group at the top of the organizational structure of our world are the news media, government/politics, and that includes presidents, governors, CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, law/legal system, for example, courts, police, the music industry, science and technology communication, the health and medical community, business and finance, education, professional sports, religion, all, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, for example, the Red Cross, and all clubs and organizations, from the Boy Scouts to the Kiwanis clubs to the Masonic temples. Though it may not always seem that way, all of the bricks work in conjunction for the same ultimate goals. They each support and corroborate each other, or are intentionally in conflict with one another to create the illusion that is what we believe to be the reality of our world. Now, to draw a connection between two entities, let's take Hollywood and the military. In movies like Jurassic Park 3, at the end you will notice that the U.S. Navy shows up to rescue the characters. This movie used real Navy ships and real military helicopters. Those are not retired crafts and vehicles, and that is not CGI. They are the real deal. So how does Hollywood get to summon real military ships and helicopters that are supposed to be used for our security and to protect our country for use in a movie by a completely separate Hollywood? Because they are 100% used by the same controlling group. Jurassic Park isn't the only movie that used real military equipment and operators for the filming of, quote, entertainment. Apocalypse Now was filmed in 1979 in the Philippines. It was an entire movie that used military equipment and at a remote location. Yes, they've been controlling Hollywood that long, since the very beginning. The original Top Gun is another example, but there have been plenty of examples over the years. In the trailer for Top Gun 2, Tom Cruise is really flying a military aircraft, and he is really taking off from an aircraft carrier. Everything in this movie is 100% authentic. There was a ton of money and military resources used in creating this film. Let's watch the trailer, and I want you to pay attention to every word spoken in this clip.
30 plus years of service. Combat medals, citations. Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. Yet you can't get a promotion, you won't retire. Despite your best efforts, you refuse to die. You should be at least a 2-star admiral by now. Yet here you are, Captain. Why is that?
It's one of life's mysteries, sir.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
Seems that the military in Hollywood are pretty cozy, doesn't it? Seems like they have a really cohesive, great working relationship. But according to the official story, the Defense Department has a liaison that works with Hollywood producers who can afford to reimburse the government for the cost of the use of equipment and operators. That usually happens only on the highest budgets, but they do admit that it is only on films that the government has reviewed and approved the scripts and believe that it casts the military in a positive light to audiences. All we have to do is look to the film Apocalypse Now to see that that isn't always the case, that the story that they're giving about how the military equipment is used in movies is not what they claim it to be, and that they are not separate entities, because Apocalypse Now did not generally present the military in a positive light. However, they still wanted that movie to be made, and they still wanted people to see that story. And it must play a small role in a bigger plan of what they want the population to think, feel, and believe. But if it's in a movie, there's a reason they want you to see it. Everything placed in a movie portraying the military, even the ones that seem to paint the military in an unpleasant light, is done purposefully to make you believe or feel what they want you to about it. It is all done to get the desired result in the master plan. In future videos, we will break down their strategy and show you what they do and what purpose it serves. But hopefully you'll be watching things with a new pair of eyes now in questioning why they place the things that they do in visual media for the public to see.